Okay, you're live. You're live, Sue.
Hello, 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 hello. So what we're going to do is just right now take a brief tour of an upcoming class where we're using a hybrid model for some pedagogical stuff, and hopefully you all will have some feedback for me, feed forward as critical friends. So I'm going to screen share this one. Are you all seeing the screen share of my class right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So just to give you guys an idea, so this class is called Managing Innovation and Change. It is an undergraduate course primarily for juniors and seniors at the Bill Greehey School of Business, St. Mary's University, San Antonio, Texas. It's taught by myself and Dr. Brooke Envick, who's the professor of entrepreneurship. And what we are doing is creating a course where students are actually going to have a project, and so let me just they're actually going to it is actually project based.
Suze, are you there? Suze,
yeah, sorry, I'm just getting a little bit of background noise from someone. Okay. It's a little. Thanks.
I will mute mine.
Oh, thank you. So I kind of wanted to just kind of take the tour of the course and how it's laid out. So there are 3 projects that students are going to be working and self-organizing around, and the first project is on creating a self-sustaining nonprofit. So they're actually going to be consulting with a nonprofit right now that is grant dependent and helping them to create their own revenue stream that they own and control while at the same time scaling their mission. The second team is actually going to be helping to create a business plan and break-even analysis and branding for an international open source and education conference. And then the third team is going to actually be doing a service project for the university that's a double bottom line project around improving the landfill usage at the university while also reducing cost for the university in terms of waste removal. So some really interesting, cool stuff around nonprofits, sustainability, open source. We're really excited about it. I'll give you an idea of some of the books that we'll be using, and I've tried to use a kind of shared resources model, not only to reduce the cost of the class for students, but then also to help them practice with the sharing economy, so to speak. So we're going to have them do StrengthsFinder 2.0, but then also Emotional Intelligence 2.0, partly because research shows that out of the 6 qualities of stellar tech workers, 4 are actually emotional intelligences rather than intellectual intelligences, and so we want them to have that self-awareness as they form their teams. We're also going to be hopefully sharing back of the napkin business model generation, switch, and made to stick. And then we have some recommended reading as well. Fun things like Conscious Capitalism. I'm really excited about 6 Thinking Hats. So lots of really, really cool stuff. So the course does have a shared calendar, and this is just an embedded Google Calendar that we're using that the students can add for themselves. And then hopefully they'll actually be able to contribute to the course calendar, things that are going on that are interesting. And we have notes about the format. I'm trying to get them to understand what their role is, and a lot of them are used to very traditional Industrial Revolution style classrooms, you guys know. So we talk about a flip, we talk about co-learning and what the implications of not being on top of the at-home work does when we all come together as a class. We talk about having a good internet connection, and then also some of the best practices around web work, things like shutting down chat or Hulu. And I actually had this really silly tip around getting a thinking cap, so that if you're a parent and you're, you've got a 4-year-old, it's like you put on the thinking cap. Maybe you give them their homework or their stuff that they're working on, so that they understand that when you're studying, you're in class. But having kind of social signals around that, I found, has been really helpful, especially for adult distance learners. Grading for this is an area that's going to be interesting, especially if the students are creating their own midterm and final rubrics. It's been challenging for me to actually create a grade book, because I'm like, well, I don't know what the rubric's going to look like. But we're going to grade them 50% on work ethic, including 360 assessments from peers, clients, mentors, and instructors that will include interpersonal skills, initiative, and dependability. And then they're going to have specific weekly things that they'll be doing, like forum participation, lexicon contribution, team engagement, personal journal, and that kind of stuff that we'll grade them on, which is the easy stuff to grade. For their midterm, they're going to do a digital design discovery portfolio. So they're going to be using methods like design thinking, and we expect them to show us in a creative way what their user and customer story is about. We'll be using business model, Canvas, live plan, some other things. And then for their final, they'll actually be doing a business plan and team pitch at the local co-working space. And they'll be graded on execution and impact. So they're not just like, oh, this is a great presentation, your market research was really thorough, but like, well, how many customers did you sign up? How many tickets did you sell? How did you do a pilot of your waste reduction program, and what did you discover? So it's not enough to present research or recommendations. You actually have to go out there and make it happen. So that's kind of interesting. In the course policies section, we've tried to talk about expectations around behaviors like being patient and honest and dependable, and talking about what that means, as well as operational stuff. And then we have the online communications section, practice and etiquette, no flaming. We actually put examples of edit wars in here, and just some suggestions around, like, if you think that you're going to get kicked out of class for something, just step away, take a walk, and reconsider how to present your contrary views in a respectful manner. So we think that that'll be a good practice for them. We have commons. So our commons area, I've tried to talk to them a little bit about what commons are and what shared resources really mean. So giving them some of Eleanor Ostrom's principles, but also just some really brief things that actually we got from our community around what a commons is, so that they understand that this virtual space is something that we co-own and that we're responsible for its use, misuse, and disuse. They do have a discussion forum that we're asking them to contribute in. One of the things I include in every single course is a peer tech support and course support. So, and telling them it's like you kind of get social cred points for helping each other. That takes some time and pressure off of me as an instructor, but it also norms their peer behavior. So I do that. And then in introductions, I ask people to introduce themselves. I ask my favorite question, which is, what are you passionate about? A very facilitatory question, why did you sign up for the course? But then also invite them to start to practice opening up conversations in a discussion forum. So we ask them to ask a question of their own to the rest of the class. So I've had great luck with this format in other contexts, so I'm hoping that works really well. We're going to have a class lexicon. I've seeded a couple topics already, but the expectation here is that if there are buzzwords or vocabulary or concepts that are coming up for them in class that they feel are important and that they need to learn more about, that they are able to add their own lexicon page and then co-edit like a wiki to continue to build on that. So this lexicon can become a resource that we publish later if we decide that it's something that we want to do with it. And what's really fun about this is, we've got the instructions on how to create a new lexicon page. We've got page author tracking down here so that as instructors and as a community, we can see who's involved in that page. And then we also have a template for each topic. So, giving them some structure, right? Encouraging them to co-edit, and then of course don't be a jerk, cite your stuff. Some attribution, some subtle attribution hints right there. We have team pages, and I kind of, let's see here, let me find one I can show. This one I think is okay to show. So each team has a client, they have a mentor, and then they have a shared file cabinet, and we've seeded some stuff in there for the beginning of the course, like their team charter, but then also like design brief and that kind of stuff. Some of the other things they'll be doing each week, they'll be doing a personal journal where they describe their experience that week. They evaluate what was important, what was meaningful. They interpret that experience, what's the so what of it, and then they plan. So they actually have to do some research, integrate what they learned, support a position, and then present proof of action. So what that could mean is that they've had an insight around a team norm that's not functioning properly or some team dysfunction, and then they evaluate it, like, well, what is it? Where is it coming from? They interpret it, okay, well, this is a particular type of dysfunction. How does that work? And they go and do some research around that kind of team issue. And then they have to show proof of action, which means, well, how did you feed that back into your team? Did you change your team charter, which is a living document? And that's something that as instructors we give feedback on. And then the course structure, we have materials each week, in-class activities, homework. In the beginning, we have reading, especially around self-organizing teams, things like SMART goals, Tuckman stages of team development, Scrum templates, project management tools like Asana, kind of flooding them a little bit right here and expecting them to pick out what is salient so that when they write their team charters, they have kind of something to go on. And then what ends up happening kind of around midterm time is they start working on scorecards for business evaluation. And their business evaluation scorecards, first they do one that is based on some of these traditional topics, right? And then they have to decide, well, what is a really good evaluation for that? And then they get to read all this stuff about design for sustainability principles, and they actually get to redo their business scorecard. And then what we'll do is we'll take those scorecards and convert them into the rubric for the midterm. So right now, I don't really know what they're going to pick up on as important, and we're not telling them that their scorecards are going to become how they're graded. So that's kind of that, and we've tried to obviously insert some humor into this course. For their final as well, they're going to do executive pitch and presence clinic, but you can kind of see toward the end of the course, this is about how the weeks look, because this is into the self-organizing of like, go out there, make it happen, you've got a plan. After the midterm, we expect much, much more self-direction from the team and self-organizing. and we're really excited for the final Pitch Fest at the kind of local co-working space. It's an exciting space for the students. It takes them out of their element, which is great practice for them. I think part of the inspiration for this is that most business schools now that are very competitive are graduating students in majors like entrepreneurship who have already run a business or already been business owners multiple times over. So we need to get that kind of learning into our classrooms. And I want students after this course to be amazing self-organizers, amazing team members, and really, really great at creating operations and mechanisms around the self-organizing, not just saying that you're doing it, but choosing a project management tool and having agreement and consensus on that, or choosing a document strategy and having some stuff around that. And I haven't been looking at you guys very much. I'm going to kind of jump over to the Hangout now and kind of stop talking, but I would love to get your feedback and your questions. Yeah.
Do you want to stop this, start another one with Joe and Charlie, or do you want to just, they're on the Google Doc? Suze? Hello? Suze?
Are they able to follow along?
They are, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, then maybe we need to start another one. I think that's okay.
We sure can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Part one is over.
Part one.
Part two will start. Part
the feedback will commence.
Bye.
Thanks.